I just... The longer I think of this episode, the funnier it gets to me, man. Denji's first kiss and him tasting the rainbow, that shit was comedy gold. I mean, I love the fact that this show is so human at its core, despite being surrounded by devils, carnage, and all this other insane shit. Like, the core character interactions are completely realistic and human, and for a 16-year-old boy who was as sheltered as he was, I mean, he's just now experiencing a lot of foods that everyone else around him have experienced most of their lives. So for him to go from thinking even talking to a girl back in the day would never happen, to him now getting everything in his wildest imaginations, the fact that his first kiss goes that poorly that a drunk girl vomits in his mouth, and now that has scarred him, I mean, it's not something that's gonna go away overnight. This is a man who's fantasized about this moment his entire goddamn life, and it was so horrible, it started out so amazing and went so disgusting that he not only goes and vomits afterwards, I don't think he's gonna commit to getting his cherry pop next week. I mean, she offers the full package and I don't think he'll be able to commit to it, because not only does he seem completely exhausted, if not drunk, he very much is just... he's so disgusted, and now it just refers to Eumell as the drunk girl, and that shit's comedy gold, man. Now, there is a full live reaction available on the Patreon if you're interested, of course, but let's talk about this one, because last week, you know, I talked about it was a bit of a blue balls moment. Denji jumps down to fight this giant demon, and we get it this episode, and it was perfect. He fights down there for like 3 days, and it was brutal, it was disgusting, and I love the fact that what kickstarted the reward for Denji wasn't the fact that they made a promise or that she is apparently quite easy and has kissed most people in that group there, but it's the fact of the matter is she's very much worried for Aki's safety. We get the flashback that she talks about how, like, she tries to lure him into a more natural, safe job. We can have drinks, we can go out to see movies, everything would be a lot more safe, but Aki's determined to fight the gun devil with, you know, whoever he can build up a little army with to do so. But we know, and as the characters keep saying, this gun devil can kill hundreds in a blink of an eye, so even if you had 100 Denjis, would that be enough? Probably not. So it's understandable why she's so, like, she wants to keep this man safe, not only because she's lost so much, but because she clearly cares for him. And then you see her so horny in a lot of ways, like the blushing, the holy shit moment, seeing Denji cut through, honestly making her feel like there's hope, that Denji actually gave her hope that defeating the gun devil might not be impossible, and if this boy, this psycho boy, is enough to survive here, then maybe he's enough to survive against the gun devil, and then that kind of kickstarts the, you want your first kiss, it's better when I'm drunk sort of a thing. So I like that, rather than it just being a horny scene for the sake of being a horny scene. Like, no one's gonna deny that that tongue kissing's better than most hentai series out there, let's be honest. But I love the fact that there was actually a build up to get to that. Not only was there the promise that they made, but most importantly, it actually gave her hope that Aki and Denji, you know, their mission to defeat the gun devil might not be a complete suicide run. There's actually a glimmer of hope that if they refine their skills, get more people, maybe it's not all for nothing, where before, back in the past, she kept trying to bring him into a safer environment. So it's some great characterization on top of being brutally insane, well animated, and then just absolutely disgustingly hilarious. I mean, Denji's first kiss for him is a nightmare, but for us viewers, it is comedy gold. I love the fact that with the new ending song that they did this week, it's this very retro, almost like, you know, classic 80s Japanese TV vibes, and then they did the loop of the kiss and they turned it into Rainbow. Like, Map is a bunch of madmen over there, man. I mean, it was already pretty disgusting with the censoring, like the way they did it, and you see like chunks and everything. It was pretty nasty. And then the fact that they amplified it with, you know, if you would have just watched the actual ending song before the episode, which I know a lot of people do, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Rainbow stream, they just came up with their head it was something other than vomit, because it was a pretty horny ending song. There was a lot of seductive shots, and then there's the kiss with the stream. Maybe people would have imagined saliva, I don't know, but it's entirely possible you could have got the wrong impression of what that was if you watched the ending before watching this episode, and that's pretty damn fantastic. But I like it, man, because this was mostly a character episode. There was some great action in the first 5 minutes, but it was a character episode through and through, and that's the thing that makes Chainsaw Man pop in the way that it does. But let's talk about the action, because Denji's an interesting character where he's not a trained killer, right? He's not some masterclass samurai who does things in the least amount of throws possible or slashes possible. No, he's a madman with chainsaws on his hand. So when he jumps down, he's swinging like a fool because that's what anyone would do put in his situation without proper training. And to see how he was getting obliterated, like his arm was getting like twisted. It was like some ReZero shit again, ripping it off. And like there's some slander that he throws towards this beast, man. He's talking about how like it, you know, the blood tastes worse than basically like dirty water, but you know, tastes like strawberry jam if it means hurting you. And I'm just like, God damn, Denji, you ain't pulling your punches anymore. And the fact that he for 3 days, I think it was 3 days, it was days anyway, he fought this creature because it was giant, right? There's no way Denji would be able to do it even in a couple of hours. I mean, a day would have been, if you had to ask me to put a time limit, I would have guessed a day. But given that they're in an environment that time doesn't move outside of that place, he fights for 3 days, sucking up the blood, and by the end of it, I mean, the fact that he, like, prior to passing out was just like, ooh, look, we got a piece again. He just looked so calm. He just went for 3 days being a psycho down there, slicing and dicing to being like, ooh, we got another piece before passing out. And honestly, a lot of people were either disgusted, fearful, or Himeno being just like, holy shit, there's actually hope. I love that everyone had a different opinion of what was happening, and as we knew, they didn't have a lot of food. Now, I don't think they were starved by the end, but they did look a little worse for wear. Like, they were exhausted, they probably weren't drinking that much, they weren't eating that much, because even though time doesn't move, it's not like they had a lot of food to begin with up there. So, you know, it was a rough ride for them going in that almost like endless staircase, time's not moving seemingly, and Denji being Denji, he does so much for so little reward. And I love the fact that when Makima gets brought up, you knew immediately when, like, the drinking started, she was the type of character that could pop back an entire keg and somehow not get alcohol poisoning. And to see everyone just like, I don't know, like everyone had at least 12 glasses and they're just passed out. She's ordering more just so casually. Like, you know, she's manipulative. You know, she has ulterior motives. And they're even kind of bringing up the concept of like, what is her purpose with Denji? Like, what does she see? And the only thing still is power. Like, we know Denji has a lot of potential and I think she just wants to use that. If there's more, obviously it remains to be seen as it stands, but I'm excited to see where they go, because Denji's he's a pretty innocent kid in a lot of ways. Like, he's looking at this, right? He's like, I'm a 16-year-old boy. I'm not going to pass up on my reward of a free kiss, but the person he thinks he's in love with, who we know damn well is manipulating him, is there, so he's not trying to live up to that. She's completely unfazed by it, because it's not like Makima has any actual romantic feelings for Denji, even if he thinks she might because of her careful manipulation tactics. We know damn well she's someone who's like, hey, if you defeat the gun devil, like I said, and you claimed sex as a reward, she would probably give it to him, given that, but there'd be no emotional connection there on her side. And I like the fact that he's just so confused, and I think a big reason why he'll turn down our girl next week, not only because he's scarred of the kiss, but I think it's just because, like, he just realizes that's not what he wants to do stuff with, you know, like, that's not the person for me. And I think it goes to show how human Denji can be in a lot of ways, even if he does turn into a chainsaw beast at any particular moment. But I mean, Chainsaw Man doesn't miss. We're now 7 for 7 with good quality ending songs that match the tone, the theme of the episode. The songs are all great, and the character motivations, the action scenes, the production in general is absolutely fantastic. So, of course, as always, I leave very, very impressed, and goddamn, every time I think of the vomit kiss, it almost breaks me down to laughter, and I love that. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, there is that live reaction available on the Patreon. You can also get video shoutouts as well if that type of fun little perks do interest you, so consider that if you so wish. So, till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.